Last week, the Beitbridge border post was congested with traffic that stretched over 10 kilometres, and law enforcement authorities are struggling to ease the backlog. Home Affairs Minister Aaron Motsoaledi is at the border post, and we speak to Hitekani. Hitekani, what is the minister looking out for this morning?
Well, there are various things, Hugo, that the minister spoke about in terms of improving the process of capturing and processing foreign nationals here. We are right in front of some of the testing stations that are here. As you know, there are these processes and setups to ensure that people who come into South Africa have been cleared. But there has been an issue of illegal certificates or counterfeit certificates that the minister has brought up, and let's just speak to him now about that. Minister, the matter of fraudulent certificates and people using fraudulent certificates to come in here has been flagged. How has it been treated?
Well, I'm very happy. I need to congratulate the Port Health authorities because they say they've already picked 17 of them, and they've shown me a copy of one of them, and I could see it's fraudulent. Well, maybe it's because of my training, I'm able to detect that. Now, what I did not really approve is the fact that after finding that fraudulent certificate, they just subject that person to a test, an antigen test, and they go through if they are negative. And I'm saying that's wrong. You are bringing a person here who has practiced fraud, who is defrauding. It's defrauding your country. Remember, the COVID-19 certificate is not just a dream of the Department of Home Affairs or Department of Health. It's per as a Disaster Management Act. It's an agreement by the Central Coronavirus Command Council, chaired by the President of the country himself, using an act that has been passed by Parliament. Now, if you defraud that, you are undermining the sovereignty of that country, you are undermining the President of that country, you are undermining the Minister of Cooperative Governance, you are undermining the Minister of Health, you are undermining the Minister of Home, you are undermining the whole country. You are undermining even the parliament of the country. You are destroying the orderly arrangement of things in that country. Why should you be allowed in? So I gave instruction that anybody who is caught with a fraudulent certificate, there is no retest that is done. They are taken back. The passport must be stamped undesirable. There are undesirable elements because if you find it so easy to forge a certificate for a serious disease like COVID, what else can you defraud when you arrive in the country? So we can't allow that.
Minister, you've flagged as well the number of lanes that are there for people coming into the Beitbridge border, and those who are leaving, saying that they are quite small. There is a broader plan. Please talk to us about that.
Yeah, it's not only the lanes. The whole structural arrangement of this port is not as if it's saving the whole continent. Remember, Beitbridge is a gateway to the most of the continent. And the manner in which it is, there's no way. Yesterday, the Africa Free Trade Agreement came into being, which means there's going to be an increase of trade. So the scenes that you saw around Christmas, you might actually see them every day. So for that reason, we have come up with a plan, which is called the OSPB, the one-stop border post, which is going to be like this. Firstly, start with the infrastructure. Start from the beginning. Don't just increase the number of gates. Redesign the whole port of entry. And the redesigning is going to be in the form of one lane for trucks only. Nobody else goes through that lane. Other lane for taxis. Nobody else goes through that lane. Another lane for private cars and another lane for pedestrians. That's what it's going to be. The second thing is people who go through our borders, they are processed by one country. Maybe you wait there for 6 hours. You cross over, then the other countries start processing you afresh in terms of their rules for another 6 hours. Now the one-stop border post, and there are several models of that. And I'll just mention the model that we have chosen for Beitbridge. They must be processed only once. So the model that we have chosen here for Beitbridge is that when a person is coming from the Zimbabwean side to South Africa, the Zimbabwean authorities don't touch that person. They don't process anything. They just proceed straight. everything is done on the South African side. Then they go past. When they come back from South Africa into Zimbabwe, the South African authorities don't touch them at all. You just allow them through. They get processed on the Zimbabwean side, and the two authorities must share whatever information, SARS information, be it health information, agriculture, environment, all the information that is needed. So that's what we mean, one-stop border post. So you may ask me where the policy is now. Just before we closed for Christmas last year, 2020, the cabinet has just passed the policy for us to send it for public participation. I issued the government gazette. The closing date for public comments is the 28th of February, after which we now have a policy and we can start implementing.
Sure, Minister, just a quick question on that. Is the working relationship between South Africa and Zimbabwe so tight and tightly knit as that it will avoid issues of corruption with a system like that seems to be a loophole in terms of if there's no closely knit and closely working system, there might be loopholes for severe corruption?
There must be closing working systems. We are aware as we're standing here, it's not a secret, we are aware that part of the congestion is because on the South African side, SARS have got electronic systems that are very smooth. They can process as many trucks per hour as they can. Unfortunately, on the Zimbabwean side, they've still got manual. And so they can only receive 20 trucks per hour. At most, at maximum peak performance, they can receive 30 trucks per hour. So South Africa cannot send more trucks than they can deal with. So the trucks tend to accumulate on the South African side. Now with one-stop border post, it's not only the construction and the method, but it's also the equipment. It must be modernized. It must, there must be electronic systems where lots of things are cleared electronically because they happen. The one-stop border post is not only going to be here in Beitbridge. We have chosen the 6th busiest border post with our neighboring country. It is here in Beitbridge. It is Lebombo, next to Komati between us and Mozambique. It's Oshoek, between us and Eswatini. It's Maseru Bridge, between us and Lesotho. It's Fixback, between us and Lesotho. And Kopfontein, between us and Botswana. All those we are arranging one-stop border post. There are already committees, by the way, of technical experts and officials between those governments who have been meeting. I've already met ministers from the neighboring countries to discuss one-stop border post and choose the model, because there are 3 models to choose from. Now the Zimbabwean side, unfortunately, at the time I was supposed to meet my colleague here. There was a change of government and he wanted to acclimatize, but we never stopped our official from continuing to meet and discussing, even if we did not meet for one-stop border post. So there is generally an agreement.
All right, lastly, and maybe briefly, Minister, the Limpopo River situation and the fact that people are trying to cross, some dying, trying to cross the flowing Limpopo River at the moment. I understand you have a strategy put in place to address that.
Yes, absolutely. You may remember in the press conference on Wednesday, I announced that we are sending 60 extra immigration officials to choose the areas where people have got a tendency to cross illegally. They are going to be helped. They are going to help the army rather. Yeah, and they are also going to be joined by police. Now, at 5 o'clock this afternoon, the army is meeting to outline exactly how the policy is going to work, because deployment is starting to take place now. It was just a plan, but it's going to be deployed. So at 5 o'clock, and I'm going to attend that meeting, because the Army General who is in charge of that has mentioned it to me, and I said I want to attend, I want to hear. And one of the things he has mentioned is that on Monday, he's going to receive a helicopter and also a fixed wing, which they'll use to do surveillance at the border. But the South African Police Service have already brought them boats. They're already using them to run in the water and send people away who are crossing illegally. So that is the plan.
Thank you very much, Minister. I know you still have a long walk around the border post, and we will be accompanying you during the day. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you.
Right, that was the Home Affairs Minister Aaron Motsoaledi talking about the plans that have been implemented so far. Important to those is that Limpopo River integration between different authorities, the army, the soldier, the police, and other law enforcement authorities. This is to ensure that what happened last week, where a mother and 2 children died trying to cross into South Africa over a canoe, does not happen again. How it's implemented and the effectiveness of it we'll definitely see as the day progresses.
So obviously the minister getting his hands dirty, so to speak. And, you know, we talk about that one-stop border post. Cooperation of the 2 countries will be key, and travellers being processed once. So this will be a welcome development for travellers, won't it?
It definitely will be, Hugo. I mean, understanding the amount of time that people have to spend at these border posts, especially if you're going through the Beitbridge border and then another border going through Zimbabwe into the rest of Africa, then it makes things a lot less difficult and a lot less strenuous, where events of last week may not occur again, when you had a huge queue of both motorists and trucks as well, waiting to be processed. I mean, the minister was a little bit shocked, really, to see that there were only 4 lanes, that 2 which came into the Beitbridge border post and 2 which left the Beitbridge border post, which really adds to the congestion that you continuously see here at the border. So, and as he said, with the new trade agreement, Africa Trade Agreement, you are potentially going to see a doubling or quadrupling of those numbers because of the amount of countries that trucks will be driving from into South Africa, or vice versa. So the one-stop border post is definitely a potential that will help both the corporate world and the motorists and private vehicles as well. And if it is implemented right, and if there is good cooperation between these 2 countries and the rest of the countries, then you will definitely see good fruit coming out of that.
Now, finally, Hitzakani, obviously a rude awakening. I know it's awaiting those that come through with the fraudulent COVID certificates.
Absolutely. I mean, the problem was that, and as the minister said, that when people came with these fraudulent certificates, then they would be flagged but tested to be released into South Africa or processed into South Africa, which gave potential to people who knew that they wouldn't get sent back to come with these fraudulent certificates. I mean, the other side of the coin is that these certificates are pricey. You have to pay an amount, and in South Africa that's about 850 rands. But people who know that they would be processed and tested and given way into South Africa can easily get those fraudulent certificates and come here and take that chance. And it was very important, perhaps, for the minister to flag it to the officials here that they are not supposed to do that. They are meant to tell these people to go back into the countries of their origin if they come with these fraudulent certificates. So a very important note there by the minister to make.
Hitzakani Magwadza, thank you so much for speaking to us and providing us with info on that update from the minister.